Oh, hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of First Canada Live. I am your host, Karthik Kanagaspapathy, and we are excited to be here once again. It is the holiday season. I got my lights going. It's going to be a good time as we talk about everything that's going on in the world of First Robotics Canada. But before we get started, folks, as Canadians, it is important to recognize the land of which we are a part. As we gather for this meeting, physically dispersed and virtually constructed, let us take a moment to reflect upon the meaning of place, and in doing so, recognize the various traditional lands on which we celebrate today. We acknowledge the elders and youth, past, present, and emerging, of all the land on which we work and live. We honor the ancestral spirits with gratitude and respect. We acknowledge this land out of respect for the indigenous nations who have cared for Turtle Island, also called North America. The indigenous people have been gifted the role of caretakers of this land before the arrival of settler peoples until today. But most importantly, we remember the history of these lands and people that have been tainted by poor treatment and a lack of friendship with the First Nations who called Canada home long before it was given this name. This history is something that everyone is affected by. We are all treaty people in Canada. We all have a shared history to reflect on, and each of us is affected by this history in different ways. Our past defines our present, but if we move forward as friends and allies, it does not define our future. All right, folks, here today to help me host the show, our co-host from the Youth Council, a member of Team 8574 Automaeus from Toronto, Corey D. What up, Corey?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Um, yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Corey. I saw you this past weekend
Yeah.
reffing at the FLL Challenge event at Mark Garneau. How was that?
That was really fun. It was pretty exciting getting to see all the kids and looking at their work. It's been really amazing sight to see. And also, what made it even more special was that my middle school FL team was actually present at the event, and I got to reconnect with some of my old teachers, which was
That
uh, a pleasure.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So it's been a busy couple of weeks because you had the youth summit a couple
Yeah.
of weeks ago, right?
Well, yeah, Youth Summit was amazing. Had so much fun with all the workshops and meeting so many new people.
What was your favorite part of the youth summit?
Mm. Like this one's pretty challenging, but I think the friendship bracelets were definitely one of the top tier.
You got one on your wrist? You got one on your wrist right now?
Unfortunately, I don't, but
Oh,
yeah, but like you know, maybe next time I'll definitely bring it on. I
yeah,
show
we got to make sure the youth
we
council rocks
yeah,
those
I do have
bracelets.
a photo somewhere, but yeah,
That's all good. It's all good. We'll get there. We'll get there. Hey, Corey, we got a lot of fun stuff happening
yeah.
on today's show. We got a couple teams talking about their experiences running first summer camps this summer, so that was really cool. We're gonna have a couple past Dean's List finalists who worked for First Canada, Jessica Kelso and Jalen Kachelski are gonna be on the show, and I don't know if you saw this year, but on TSN, they had a robot goalie that was actually made by an FRC team, Team 7200. So they're going to be on here tonight as well. So it's going to be a lot to discuss. It's going to be a really, really fun show.
I am yeah, I am really excited actually, especially since I play hockey myself, so hockey is like one of my favorite sports. So it'll be fun to see the robot goalie.
Yeah, we got to
Maybe
see if you maybe we got to see if you can score on that goalie at one point. It's just yeah, it's going to be a
that would
big
be
one.
cool.
Folks, if you are watching right now live on Twitch, if you have any questions for us, for myself, for Corey, for any of the panelists, drop them in the Twitch chat and we'll do our best to answer them live on air. And folks, remember why we're here. We're here to have fun and celebrate excellence in our community. So let's stay positive with our comments in chat. All right, Corey, I want to toss it over to you for our regular segment, the Youth Council Wellness Moment.
All right. So as you know, it's like incredibly important for us to be taking care of ourselves. And on a personal note, for the wellness moment, I'll be sharing a little bit of what I do. There's a lot of good options when I feel like I need a moment to decompress. I sometimes would journal or I would go out for a run, but I think I'll actually share one of my guilty pleasures, which is don't tell anyone this, but sometimes if it's late at night, I'll be in when I'm taking a shower, I would belt out songs as loud as I can. Um, which is pretty funny. And also, my voice is super off pitch, so my parents can are always like complaining about it. But and it feels good. It feels good to just get it out sometimes. And, like sometimes, like when I sing my lyrics that don't even make sense, I'm just randomly blurting out jumbled language. But you know, if I feel good about it, I'm gonna keep on doing it. And that's what's really important, you know. It's not about just it's all about just finding the activity to clear your mind and allow you to be in the moment, whatever it is, I think it really goes a long way in helping us all be our best selves. Yeah.
I love it, Corey. But here I gotta ask, first of all, when you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, don't tell anyone. Well, we're just telling, the whole first community right now. It's
I
gonna
know.
be archived on YouTube. It's gonna be a podcast on
Oh,
Spotify. Everyone's gonna know
someone's gonna put
Corey
a meme
D is
out there.
singing. Yeah, but Corey, I want to know what's your like go-to song in the shower?
Ooh, this one's a tough one. Um, I think sometimes I would belt out like "You Broke Me First" by Tate McRae. Sometimes,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
I feel
okay.
like I feel
So
like
Corey, we're in the same club of like off-pitch singers. I am
yeah,
very off-pitch, but I love singing as well. So I'll belt it out in the shower from time to time, or just like
let's go.
whatever, anywhere.
But they yeah, we can have a off pitch belt off.
Yes, off pitch belt off, for sure. We'll do it at an event, we'll do it in the pits or something.
Oh yeah, that would be really exciting.
Back in the day, sometimes when the pits were closing and people weren't leaving, I would get on the microphone and sing Closing Time by
Mhm.
Semisonic. So maybe we got to bring that back this season. We'll see how that
Mhm.
goes.
How about we can do a duet?
Okay, we can see what was up there. All right, thank you, Corey. Thank you. But all seriousness, it's really important for people to find ways to relax, whether it be singing in the shower, whether it be crocheting. But take some time. Make sure your entire day is not just school or robots or scholarship applications, university applications. Take some time for yourself. It's really important, folks. You're going to be the best version of yourself if you take some time for yourself. Good. Excuse me here. All right, it's time to move on to our news updates. Lots of things going on. Hey, folks, if you are on a first robotics competition team that opted out of the kit of parts, drive base, or the black tote, you're going to be receiving some vouchers very shortly. I think you might have already gotten them in your accounts. If you opted out of the kit of parts drivetrain, you're getting a $450 Andy Mark voucher. If you opt out of the black tote, you're getting a $125 Andy Mark voucher and a $125 Rev Robotics voucher. Now, what's really cool about these vouchers, all the Andy Mark vouchers can be redeemed at Andy Mark in the US or at Studica here in Canada. The Rev Robotics vouchers are redeemable at revrobotics.ca, which also ships out of Canada. So if you're a little bit concerned about, oh, these vouchers are great, but I don't want to have to spend all this money on shipping from the US and duties and customs, it's okay. You can use your vouchers. You can use the Andy Mark vouchers at Studica. You can use the Rev voucher at Rev Canada. So we have Canadian sources for all of this. Teams, it's really important to pay attention to this. And you would have gotten an email blast about this today to any teams who've opted out. First Canada Live updates. So this is our last episode of 2023. Corey, can you believe that 2023 is like almost over?
Yeah, it's crazy. Time passes so fast.
Yeah.
I can't even believe that it's already December. The holidays are almost here.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. Mhm.
But for
I'm
First Canada
excited.
Live, it means some big things are going to be
Yeah.
happening. So we're going to come back the Tuesday after kickoff, and right away we're going to do a massive show, hour and a half, where we're going to be breaking down the new FRC game Crescendo from top to bottom. We're going to have experts. We're going to have Jenna Kay from Team 118 from NASA here. We're going to line up some other guests. We've had some of the top drive coaches in the world on the show before, and we're going to be breaking down the game to find out all the details. So everyone's going to want to tune in. Then the week after that, we're bringing our friends from NASA back on. We're going to bring on Team 118 to talk about the EveryBot for the 2024 season. Not just talk about it, it will be the global unveiling. So every year, about 2,000 people tune into this episode. It is wild. So you want to find out what the EveryBot's going to be, you'll have to watch First Canada Live. So we're looking forward to seeing our American friends, our Turkish friends, our Israeli friends, our friends from all over the world to tune in for this episode. Australia might be sleeping, or maybe they'll just be waking up, but either way, they're going to be tuning in for that one.
I
Then once we get into FRC competition season, every single week on the Tuesday after events, we will be coming on doing a deep dive into the events. We'll be talking about the stories that happen at the events. We'll doing some replay of top matches, doing some strategic analysis. It's going to be a blast. So First Canada Live, everything's happening. If you want to get notifications of when we're coming up, subscribe, hit like, do all the things. We're also a podcast on Spotify, so you're going to want to do that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to everything. Click all the buttons. Just do the thing, right? right, Corey? Just like subscribe, like, come on, let's
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
let's
it's
go.
like every button, all the red buttons, the like buttons. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm excited to have like the NASA folks. They just did a Mr. Beast YouTube episode. Yeah, like so that's pretty wild. So they're gonna come on our show too. You know, they're like, oh yeah, we can do like the two biggest shows out there, Mr. Beast and First Canada Live. Like basically the same, right, Corey? Basically the same viewership.
Yeah, I'm so
Not the
excited.
same at
I'm
all.
so excited for those. Mhm.
It'll be good.
Exactly.
Hey folks. Oh, lots of things coming up. Corey, you are a grade 12 student, correct?
I am actually in grade 11.
Oh, you're a grade 11 student. Well,
Yeah.
never too early to start thinking about it, but the First Canada scholarships are now open. So if you go to our website, we're going to drop the link in chat. Lots of scholarships available from universities, organizations, and of course, the First Canada specific scholarships, including the Don Bosey Leadership and Innovation Scholarship, the Canadian Women in STEM Award, and the First Canada Indigenous Award. So all the details and deadlines are available on our website. And if you want to learn a little bit about how to apply for scholarships and some tips and tricks, well, I don't know if it was last week. I think it was 2 weeks ago on the First Canada Alumni Corner. We had two of our rock star alumni, Mahak Dhaliwal and Jordan Clausen, on with Jaylene to talk about tips for applying to scholarships. This is like a must watch, folks. We've covered this on First Canada Live before, but on Alumni Corner, they went really deep. You want to learn how to apply for scholarships, all the tips and tricks, tune into that. It's on our YouTube channel. The link has just been dropped in chat. But if you're listening on Spotify, go to our YouTube channel. Just search up First Robotics Canada. It's going to be right there for you. More news updates. So many things happening, folks. If you want to get set for the FRC season, your first tech challenge season, join the Ontario team Slack group where you can ask all sorts of questions of your other teams. It's a great way to network with teams. You might be looking for a motor that can't find online. Post in there. Someone might have one for you. You know, it's a great place for people to help each other out. And of course, for all our alumni listening, make sure you join the First Canada alumni lists to stay with us. Head on over to HurstRoboticsCanada.org/alumni, where you can find out about our mailing list, our LinkedIn group, alumni corner, and much, much more. All right, Corey, that was a lot of news updates. It's time to get started with the show. But before we can jump into our first segment, we've got to stop for a word from one of our sponsors, Magna. All right, Corey, we are back and it's time for our first segment. So we'd like to welcome our guests from FRC Team 7200, Banting Memorial High School from Alliston, Ontario. Say hello to Team President Connor and lead driver Colby. What's up, guys?
Hey. Uh, we're glad to be with you tonight. It's awesome to be on this show. And we're excited to have a chance to talk about the robot goalie that we did for TSN.
Yeah, we want to talk all about the robot goalie. First of all, I just want to ask, how's the school year going? Everything chill up in Alliston?
Yeah, it's been, I mean, how any school year is. It's a little stressful at certain times.
Both in
Yes.
grade 12 university applications, all that. But
Oh
but
yeah.
everything's good.
Applications. Hey, did you hear? We were just talking about it. Scholarship applications are
Yeah.
open. Y'all got to apply. I think if you start talking about, hey, I built a robot goalie for TSN, I think all these schools and places will be like, whoa, this is pretty dope. All right. So, hey, I think the best way to get started with this is let's show off the goalie. So we have a clip from the ESPN website, which is of your segment on TSN. So let's take a look and see what it was like when your robot goalie was on TV. All right. If we can try and get audio on this video, would be nice. Or I guess like looks like we don't have audio right now, but we can see the video. We can see the goalie in net right there. And so Connor and Colby, were you on the set when this was happening?
We weren't on the set. The only person on the set was our last year's president, Amber.
Okay.
but no, we were not.
Okay. All right. But it's still pretty cool right there. They're taking shots or whatever. And I just we'll let the video play and we'll see the action here. I have so many questions. There's so many questions I want to ask about this. I'm sure Corey does too. Do you two play hockey?
No.
No.
I used to play a little bit of hockey, like a long time ago, back when I was like 11, 12. So when we got the chance to do this, it kind of reminded me like when I used to play, and like that was a cool chance to relive those memories.
This is wild. The goalie is just doing its thing right there. Stopping the pros. This is pretty dope. And this was like part of the free agent frenzy. So like one of like TSN's like most watched non-live sporting event shows. So like, really got millions of people watching this goalie. That is pretty dope. Okay, well maybe first of all I want to ask, how did you get this opportunity? How did this happen?
Well, it started actually even before this. Back in 2020 and 2021 to 2022, that season for us, we were approached by a theater person in Barrie, and they wanted us to build a robot for a play they were doing. And so we did that, right? That went awesome, and we did the play. We got the robot to perform in the play series, and then afterwards, one of the higher ups at first actually realized, and they noticed that we did that, and they thought, hey, this is a team that says yes to everything, loves doing taking on crazy challenges, and so and so they said, because TSN they reached out to First Robotics, First Canada, and they asked if they had any teams that might want to take on a challenge like this, and so First responded to TSN, and they said, yeah, Team 7200, they're the people to talk to, and yeah, of course we went all for it.
That is super wild. Corey D, you got a question for our folks here?
Yeah. What was the process like of building the robot?
Okay, so to build the robot from pretty much complete scrap all the way to a finished product, it took about like a month and a half for us. And we went through the design phase. Once we got like what we were looking for in this type of project, we started building it. And of course, as everyone would know, in robotics and stuff, everything is bound to break and all that sort of stuff. So we went through probably over half the time just fixing stuff and changing different things to make it work better and actually like have it work properly for us.
Yeah, another significant challenge was getting the limelight to work. We were a team who'd never actually used any vision tracking software in any of our robots before, so this was the first time that we were ever experimenting with anything like that, and it turned out well. We managed to set everything up so that the goalie robot's able to work completely autonomously, or it can be driven and have all the functions controlled as you would any other robot.
Definitely a big thanks to our lead coder last year, as well as our coding mentor that we had.
Yeah, wouldn't have been possible otherwise.
That's pretty wild. That you got that fully working autonomous, and like the Limelight's just an amazing piece of technology. Love those folks. Love that thing. Highly recommend it to all teams. And so, are you like, so you have like a Robo Rio powering that thing back there, or
yeah
okay,
yep.
So just like full robot, full battery on there as well, I'm guessing. Then too,
actually
so
we've got two batteries.
Okay.
Didn't want it to die in the middle.
How many pneumatic tanks are there?
There must be like,
I think there's like 7.
I don't know.
It looks like 5 to 7, somewhere around there.
It's great when you don't have like the restrictions of FRC. It's just like, just slap another tank on, like, it's leaky somewhere. Slap another tank on. Let's go,
Yeah.
That's imagine if we could just do that with our robot. Just like, well, I mean, you can slap lots of tanks on there. It just takes forever to fill them before a match. But
Yeah,
I think there were even 2 compressors on there.
Nice.
Compressors. Yeah, that sounds really fun.
It got pretty hot.
Yeah. it's great to just have that experience to just make something cool that you're passionate about with like no restrictions.
So I want
Yeah.
to know, what was it like working with the folks at TSN? Did they, was there a lot of like back and forth and say, or were they just like, oh, this robot's perfect, this is just great?
Oh, when so we uh they basically came in blind when we went to the arena to actually film a YouTube video for it. They basically asked us to build it and said, "Can you do it?" We said yes, and we built the entire thing and then came in, and that was basically a first impression for all the people that were going to be with us for that. It was all their first impression of the robot, and they all loved it.
Yeah, they were sort of expecting they were expecting something probably much more rigid, I guess
Yeah.
you might say. They didn't expect something that would be so actually capable of moving and doing things automatically. They didn't really know what to expect. So they were quite blown away with what we'd come up with. And that's the reason why they were so impressed that they actually took it to TSN and got us on the live segment.
That's so dope. I think my favorite part of that robot, aside from like the limelight in the belt, is that you use bumpers as the pads. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that is like a very like, that's like a collab that everyone's wanted to see of hockey and first right there. That's pretty dope. I don't know, Corey, you got another question for the team?
Yeah, I mean, with all the recognition that your robot got, I imagine, are there any interesting stories you have of people who've learned about your team and the robots? Yeah.
Um, well, on that note, I would say it is interesting because it's sort of become in in a certain sense it's become like our mascot for when we're doing a lot of events.
Yeah.
Like we were at the
Beaten Fall Fair.
Beaten Fall Fair, and that was like the main thing we did. We let people come and take shots at the goalie. The mayor of Allison even came and he had a couple of shots at it.
Did he
Same
score?
thing recently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got a couple
Okay.
times.
yeah,
Yeah.
he scored a couple
Okay,
times.
well, you gotta let the mayor score. It's like you can't just
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
mayor.
We had it in mayor mode.
Yeah, exactly. Right,
Oh
right,
yeah,
right, right, right.
that's
Yeah,
fun.
politician
I
mode. I
like
love
that
it.
built-in modes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a
Uh,
built-in mode for me?
yeah. We gotta get Corey is a former hockey player, so we gotta get Corey to take some shots at it at some point.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So like you talked about, if you build a robot, things are gonna break or whatever. Was there any like real challenges that you faced in the build process, and how did you overcome those?
Um,
I think one of the biggest ones was the positioning of the pistons for
yeah,
arms.
yeah. Yeah, there was an issue where with the way and the issue sort of came up pretty late and pretty close to when the deadline was. We were having an issue where the piston in the arm wasn't able to because of the way it was angled, it didn't have enough leverage to despite the size of the piston, mind you, it didn't have enough power based on its position to actually push the arm up because the initial position was almost parallel with the arm in its direction to the pivot, the joint.
So you didn't have any mechanical advantage there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But we were able to solve that by rearranging the piston and changing the system. More recently, we also while we were showcasing the goalie at the Georgian College Open House, while we were there, one of the bolts for one of the blocking pads just up and snapped in half, and we had to come up with a quick fix to that while we were out in the field.
The piston that actually attached to the frame for that bumper just straight up snapped, and I think what we did was we just kind of unplugged the hoses and
the pneumatic hoses so they wouldn't leak.
them off.
We just used zip ties to make sure there were no leaks.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. That's the way, because like I'm sure building, it's just like these are things that happen in competition. Like you get to
Yeah,
competition
yeah.
and you realize like, oh, this motor doesn't have enough power, or this pneumatic doesn't have the right lever or whatever, or something shears, and oh, we got a match in 3 minutes. We gotta go. We gotta figure it. Okay, we're not fixing it. We're just tying it off or whatever. So those
Yeah.
same sorts of skills. Isn't it just neat how like first the skills that you develop in your shop and at events just apply to all sorts of other engineering projects? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I know,
Tape
like,
and zip ties.
use them outside of even being here, doing all the first stuff. I used all the skills I learned here outside, just coming up with solutions to problems that I like initially think there's no way I'm gonna figure out how to do this.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's super dope. We are running out of time here, so one last question I want to ask you is
Right.
anything else you've been working on lately that you want to share, tell us a little bit about? Because you know you are the team who just says yes to everything and does cool stuff. So
Yeah. Well, some of the stuff more recently. We every year we like to participate in the Alliston Light Up Christmas Parade. So as you can see on the right, that's
Oh.
a Grinch in a gingerbread house. So for the parade, we decided we would rebuild and create some new Christmas themed robots. Sort of by decorating it and adding on to bases that we already had lying around. So not too much technical stuff, but a lot of fun stuff for giving back to the community, because a lot of the kids who go to those parades, they just love that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
like the real live animated sort of abilities that you can achieve with that sort of stuff. With the music playing and all that, it's awesome. We also did a Christmas tree for that same event, and we had features where you were able to send it messages and change the color of the lights by texting it the different color that you wanted to be set to.
that is
Lots of
okay.
cool
That's
stuff.
pretty cool.
And
The
also,
interactiveness. Yep.
we're we're going to be in a second play. I don't want to give too many details away now, but yeah.
Oh, nice. We can see the Christmas tree and we can see the Grinch
Yeah.
in the house. That's pretty dope. And the
Yeah.
lights. Oh, this is fantastic there.
Amazing.
All right, Connor, Colby, thank you so much for coming on. Can't
Yeah.
wait to see what you're up to next. Can't wait to see what you come up with for Crescendo. You've already got like an autonomous goalie. So like how cool would
Yeah,
it be if
yeah.
it was like a hockey themed game this year? You just be like, yo, we're ready. We got
Oh,
this.
we would be set.
Yeah.
We'd be
Yeah,
perfect
you're
for it.
set. You're set. We'll see with that. All right, folks, thank you so much for coming on today's show. We really, really appreciate it. And everyone,
Thank you
we're going to
too.
be back talking summer camps in just a moment after a word from one of our sponsors, Enbridge.
Manufacturing is the cornerstone of our economy. However, it is one of the largest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions. There are a multitude of solutions, including energy efficiency, low carbon technologies such as renewable natural gas, geothermal, and hydrogen, and they all play a part in the transition towards a clean energy future.
A specific example of how Enbridge is leading the energy transition is leveraging our storage assets where we've been safely storing natural gas for 75 years, and to now look at those same assets to store new things such as hydrogen.
There are areas that you just can't electrify efficiently. So for instance, the making of steel, where they use gas or coal as part of the process itself. You have to use something that's to replace those elements, and hydrogen fits the bill.
It's just beginning. We're starting to scale up pilot projects and demonstration projects to utility scale size and implement real change.
All right, we are back. Corey, that goalie was pretty wild, right?
Yeah, it was amazing. All the engineering and innovative ideas that they put in. I'm very impressed.
Now it's got me thinking, like, could we have an FRC game, like a hockey game, like
well-
a autonomous goalie? You know, wasn't just being driver controlled. Limelight was tracking that
Yeah.
stuff. You know, there's I don't know, there's options there. There's cool things there. That's pretty sweet. All right, we're gonna shift gears a little bit, but not too much because we're still talking FRC, but we're gonna be talking about some FRC summer camps, well, summer camps run by FRC teams. We got two teams on here who did this summer. So first off, I'd like to welcome team 7659 HMNCS Robotics from Mississauga, and we got Simona G and Arena P. Hey, how's it going? And
Good, how are you?
I am
So nice to be on the
fabulous.
show.
Yeah, did you see the goalie just now? What did you think of that?
That was awesome. Like
Yes.
that was absolutely incredible. That was
Right,
amazing.
that is really, really dope. All right, next up we also have team 8765 parallel units from Stratford, and we've got Carter, Ma'am Mary, and Thomas. Hello, hello, and hello. All right, teams, first off, what did you do this summer? It's like the whole movie. I know what you did last summer. I know, but you got to tell us. Maybe 7659. You want to start us off?
Yeah, so this summer, obviously, we ran the first summer camps. We did it over 2 weeks and we had over 40 campers in total. One of our camp day weeks was actually only 4 days, so it was a bit of a challenge because we had to manage to fit content meant for 5 days into a shorter amount of time. But it was still a really great experience, and we managed the kids from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So it was a lot, but it was such an amazing time.
All right. And what about you, parallel units? How many camp sessions did you run?
We ran 4, yeah. The same 5-day situation over here for us. Yeah.
Very, very, very cool. And so, parallel units, how did you get involved in these camps?
It's pretty interesting actually. The person who invited us on the show for this one was the same guy he's brilliant, man. Who got us to do the summer camps as well. But he was also a teacher at the school for a little bit. And so he's been following us. Once he heard that our school started doing FRC, he contacted us, and seems to have taken a special interest in it.
And so, for these camps, First Canada provided training for all the student counselors. So I'd love to know what each of you learned from the training.
So from the training, since it was my first year in robotics, I really learned the basic aspects on like how to code and also how to run a summer camp, since it's like completely different from the behind the scenes side. There's so much planning that goes into it. You really have to think about the curriculum. And we also learned about, again, the curriculum to teach the kids, but they also taught us that it wasn't just about teaching them how to code. It was about teaching them how to work together with each other and be creative and innovate different ideas and problem solve. So that was something that I learned too as well that I can apply in my daily life. And they also gave us a plan on day to day. Day one, teach them this, day two, teach them this, but they also gave us a lot of free reign and creativity to also reach out to them in the way we wanted to.
That's very, very cool. Anyone else want to talk about things that they learned during the training?
I also think that I learned a lot about like learning how to handle different situations, because I had already joined the team on like Arena, so I knew a lot about like the technical aspect, but it was really interesting to like sort of work and like see things that maybe like how to deal with the kids. And something that actually happened in training was our computer wouldn't connect Bluetooth to our robot to download, and it seemed really frustrating in the training, but then in the actual camp sessions, the same thing ended up happening to one of our campers, and I knew exactly how to fix it because it was an issue that we had encountered. So it was a really useful, like something you never would have thought of, a mistake that happened in training ended up being useful later down the line.
That's so perfect that you learned those sorts of skills. What about you, ma'am, Mary? Anything that you learned in specific?
I'm originally from West Africa, so I don't live in Canada. So I wasn't in the country when they were doing the camps, but as the head of my team, I'll be speaking on behalf of the students who can't be here today. So many of them told me that they really enjoyed going to the camps and learning how to work with other people their age, because for a lot of the first competitions they'd been to, a lot of the mentors ranged in ages and all of these things. So they were usually working with adults and kids. But they said for the Lego training that it was mostly younger people, and that was definitely an adjustment for them. But I know that a lot of them made really good connections with them, and it also trained them to be able to work with people of similar ages, like younger children, because that can be a bit difficult when doing something so specific. But they learned a lot from that.
Thomas, anything for you? Were you able to attend the training?
Sorry, was a question for me?
Sorry, were you able to attend the training? Anything you want to tell us
Oh
about?
yeah, I did it like over the summer, and I kind
Yeah.
of like learned a lot of stuff because when I went over there, I was like not interested like in a robot before, and it was like kind of like my first time doing it. And I remember like I really like had a stressful situation with coding, and I learned like how to be patient and like everything like we learned over there like we kind of like applied to the kid because the kid like they kind of like had the same reaction as that I have before like with the coding. And yeah, we learned like a lot of useful stuff, and it kind of like helped me as well like realize that robots are actually like a cool stuff that I can actually like put it on my life looking
That,
forward to.
that is really cool. It's really cool that these lessons were applicable not only for the camps but for beyond that. I don't know, Corey D, you got a question for our group?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say that I really like that you all have decided to pay it forward and get involved in these camps to provide opportunities. And I guess my question is that were there any particular special moments per se, some very fun moments you had at your camp, or like a favorite memory perhaps, or like even just stories about day-to-day running of the camps?
My favorite part of like the camp, just like a favorite memory, was once we finished all of the activities like that we had scheduled. Of course, we had like a certain time allotted to them. A lot of the kids actually used that time to like start like being creative with their robots. I remember there's a group and they were just so outgoing and they came up to me and they wanted to show me like the little robot and they had managed to figure out how to add like the lights on it and they were spelling out words and they made it once they completed their thing, they made it say like good job and they made it play a little sound. Groups were like intermingling and like recording sounds for each other and just having a lot of fun. And I thought it was so nice that aside from just being competitive, they were able to go and talk to each other and sort of play with the robots and not just be competitive.
Yeah, that's like literally gracious professionalism. Finest.
Anyone else got a favorite story or a favorite camper or anything they want to talk about?
One of my teammates, Amin, was talking to me about his experience at the camp when I asked him, and he said that he was sitting in a really hot room in the school for hours and hours building Legos, and that's all he was doing. And he was like, Mom Mary, I felt like I was losing my mind. Like I felt like I was going crazy. I was just sitting there sweating and building Legos. But he told me that he wasn't able to be at the camp itself and did more of the setup. But when he saw the pictures and when he saw the impact of it, it made it worth it for him. And he was really happy about that.
That warms my heart.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. Anyone else have a story they want to share from their camp experience, Thomas?
Yeah, so like kind of like one of my favorites moments was I remember like I think it was like on the last day of the camp, and I was like kind of like stuck with like the coding process. And I remember like one of the kids like came up to me and he like kind of like started explaining to me, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? And like then I realized like we actually received like a lot of kids who actually had like experience with those robots. So it was like kind of good like seeing them like sharing stuff with me because I was like kind of stuck, and it kind of like helped me figure out where I need to change stuff. And it was like pretty good.
If I've learned one thing in first over the years is that as much as the mentors teach the students are often teaching the mentors. And I think you're all are seeing that side of things now too. It's really cool. So these camp opportunities for people who are watching or listening right now, there are going to be more. We're going to be expanding this program, so stay tuned to your program updates and your and social media to find out more details about how to get involved in these camps for this year. But I was wondering if either teams, both the teams, if there was an FRC team who was like, oh, maybe we should do these camps or whatever, but I'm not sure, how would you convince them? What would you tell them?
Honestly, the best part about the camp for me was just seeing all of the hard work being paid off at the end of the week. And I would recommend it to every team. Like all of the hard work that you put into it, it really just, you see it at the end of the week. And just working with kids that really want to learn and are really eager to be there every day is just an amazing experience. And it's only like 2 weeks of your summer, and you meet so many good kids, and it was just an amazing experience. And trust me, like I've been to so many summer camps, and if I went to this one, this is by far the best because I've never seen so many kids show up in the morning, with a smile on their face, ready to go. So I'd 100% recommend it to every team that wants to do it.
All right, that's the sales pitch right there. Fabulous, Rita. Anyone else have anything to add?
I'd say you got nothing to lose.
That's a pretty good way of putting it too, Carter. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. I think that the kids now, like when I was their age, I probably wouldn't know how to do this, but the kids now, they have so many resources available to them that I'm not surprised if a kid already knows how to use like this whole pseudocode stuff anymore, because like two of the kids that we met while doing it were like way ahead of the others. Like they already knew everything. Like they have this technology at home that they've messed around with on their own time. So I think that we can expect more from them than what we do. When we go into it, we're assuming that they don't know how to do any of it, but I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah, and I think another cool thing is that these kids now who are coming to these camps, 4 or 5 years, they're going to be the new students on 7659 and 8765. So it's building the pipeline, those locking up those future blue banners, getting the kids done early. So it's going to be really good. Hey, thank you so much, teams, for coming on. Anything else anyone wants to say before we go? If not, we'll say thank you for being here and thanks for running these camps. We really appreciate everything that you're doing for our community. It's really great and can't wait to see you all this FRC season. All right, folks, we're going to be back in just a few seconds, so join us in just a bit. All right, folks, I'd now like to welcome our next set of guests. I am very lucky here at First Canada because I just get to work with a bunch of rock stars, and who are two of the most shining stars we got right here. We have First Canada alum and 2014 Dean's List finalist at the Windsor Essex Regional, and now the alumni and volunteer manager for First Canada, Jaylene Kiszewski. Hello, Jaylene.
Hello.
And thank you for being here. We got a First Canada alum, and not one time, but two-time Dean's List finalist, once at the North Bay Regional, once at the Ontario Provincial Championship. You were a district winner and a regional winner. And now a STEM program coordinator for First Canada, Jessica Kelso. Hello, Jessica.
Hello, everybody. It's so nice to be here. And Jaylene and I are so excited to be representing First Canada here.
Well, so Jaylene, Jess, and I, and Dave Ellis, we were chatting a little bit about, the Dean's List Award and why we know this award is so important, but we're like, still a lot of teams don't submit for this award, and maybe it's because they don't know a lot about it or whatever. And so then we're like, well, who better to tell the world about why they should submit for this award than two past Dean's List finalists from right here in Ontario. So Jess and Jaylene have put together a little bit of a presentation, so we're going to talk about this, and then Corey and I will jump in with questions along the way.
Perfect. So yeah, just to start, again, I'm Jessica and this is Jaylene, and we are so excited to be here. And today we will be talking about the importance of submitting for the First Dean's List Award.
So we wanted to start by just talking about what the Dean's List Award is. And it was created by the Kamen family. So Dean Kamen, the founder of First, and his family, to recognize outstanding, passionate student leaders who just demonstrate exemplary effectiveness at attaining First ideals, which is a bunch of words to say you're really passionate about First and you're a leader in your community and on your team. So the way that students are nominated is by their mentor through a written essay, followed by an interview that they will have at one of their events with 2 to 3 judges in an interview room. And there's a bunch of words there describing all the different levels of Dean's List award winners, and I'm even confused about it. So you can read through it a little bit, but as a nominee, you're a semifinalist, and then there's different ones as you go, and they change a little bit between our First Robotics competition and our First Tech Challenge. And I'm going to tell my story. So I think the best way to show the importance of this award is talking about what it really means as a recipient, and even more importantly, as a nominee, because everybody can be a nominee. Every team can have nominees, can have semifinalists. And then one step beyond that, we have a few semifinalists and finalists, and it gets confusing from there, but we recognize a few people at each of our events for each of our programs. But this is a little bit about my story. You can see that I'm from 772, and I can
77
see the
who?
Twitch comments. Exactly, 772. Lost my voice many times yelling that, but you can check out my great 2014 outfit there. Good times. But I started going to events when I was only 9 years old. I was not a part of First LEGO League. It wasn't an option in my area or at my school at the time. And I was a team member all the way through high school for 4 years. But I was the team coordinator and awards lead, did a lot of work on growth activities, media releases and presentations, and I was not on the technical side of the robot. Although it always interested me, it was not where I was drawn on the team and where my leadership was. It was more so guiding the team to doing these growth activities and helping with starting the 2014 Windsor-Essex Great Lakes Regional. We were still in regionals at that time, but it was the inaugural event that I was a part of, and was able to work really hard on creating more of a community for FIRST to grow in Windsor-Essex. And I was helping lead that a lot with obviously the support of our team. And finding out that I was nominated might have been one of the highlights of my Dean's List journey, is being surrounded by my teammates, incredible people that have all supported me throughout this journey, and my mentor letting me know that I was the one that he chose to nominate, because my leadership skills stood out just a little bit more than all the other incredible people that I got to work with. And it was because of my mentors and my team members that I was able to grow into that role. I like to tell people that and share that I was a very, very shy grade 9, and I became the person that was, if there was somebody from any of the media outlets that came to one of our events or anything we're presenting at, I was the person that spoke. And 14-year-old Jaylene would have never believed you if you told me that. So that's how FIRST had impacted me, and being told that I was the nominated choice of that season was very, very special. It's something I'll never forget, and it really gave me the motivation to continue to grow as a leader and in my own role on my team, but also outside of my team. I remember going into my interview and being so nervous because I saw all these other excellent team members that were going into their interviews as well with these judges, and to sit in this room with 2 judges and talk about myself. It was the first time I had ever had an experience like that. I'd never really had a job interview before that. And of course, it's a little bit different. You're talking about how you impacted other people with the things you have done, and more FIRST focus versus just what skills you have, although those are important as well. And funny enough, with my job where I am today, I was emailing with one of our judges from that event, and she said she very much remembered me. And that was pretty cool to see that she still remembered my impact from that many years ago. I still remember the moment that Karthik said my name. We weren't as close as we are now that we're working together, but it was one of the coolest things ever. And I definitely cried, and my face is very red in that photo with I won with Graham from 1114 as well. So it was a very, very exciting day for both of us, and it will continue to be one of my favorite FIRST memories. Is that whole journey of being a part of the Dean's List interview, the nomination process, and of course having my name called and being able to be recognized for my leadership skills. And I'll pass it off to Jess to share her story.
So yeah, my story, just like Jaylene, we started young. I was a FLL student, First LEGO League, with my brother, and my whole family has continued on in the FIRST world. So I started in First LEGO League for a few years, and then I migrated up into FRC, First Robotics Competition, where I was on my team for 5 years. And during this time, I had a few different roles, but my main ones were an impact presenter, business manager, and then additionally, I was team captain in my last year. So that was super exciting. And during this time, I took every opportunity to get involved within my community, within the FIRST community, and then on my team. And that's obviously like the best piece of advice I can give you is just keep saying yes, keep asking about chances, keep asking your mentors, your community members, your sponsors. Everybody loves FIRST students and they love to give you opportunities to explore and grow. Just like Jaylene mentioned, being recognized by your team is obviously an amazing accomplishment, and I was so honored to be recognized twice. And just going into that interview, being able to talk about myself and talk about my experience within FIRST and even talk about my team, you always have the chance to brag about your own team is the best part. And it was so exciting to be able to be recognized for this. And it's still one of my favorite FIRST memories. I can still remember running down the stands, and I passed my dad on the way. And it was just super exciting to be able to give those judges that I'd known for so many years and these other students in the crowd high fives as I was going. So it's definitely a once in a lifetime opportunity to win, but also just to be nominated. And that's something I want to preference the next few slides with. We're going to talk a little bit more about the details of the award, but as mentors and as adults in the program who are nominating students, I really want to preference that it's not so much about winning the award, but it's more so just that you're recognizing your students' accomplishments. Obviously, everyone has a different FIRST journey, and there's some students that you think have this amazing backstory and this amazing story and everything like that. But your student has just as amazing of a story, and it deserves to be told. So we never want to miss an opportunity to tell our students how amazing they are. So let's remember this season to nominate our students, and we will get a little bit into the award now. So each FRC or FTC team can nominate up to 2 students in grade 10 or 11. And Jaylene will go a bit into the actual details of the questions that you're answering in their submission. But the main thing is how you're going to be talking about within the submission is how your student exhibited leadership and commitment and the effectiveness of increasing awareness of FIRST. So it's not so much that they really, really love the core values, but it's more so how they love the core values and what they brought to their team and what they brought to their community. It's a lot of storytelling and going into the details. And obviously you will find out quickly that you don't have a lot of characters to do this, but it really does make you think about the very definitive impact of your students on your team and in your community.
We'll head to the next slide and I'll talk about preparing your nomination. So very quickly, there's 2 big pieces. When you hear essay, it gets scary. And as a mentor, you know that you're a very busy person. So we want to just make it as simple as possible and remind you that it's fairly short of a nomination. So it's 5 essay prompts, 800 characters. I don't want that to scare you. That's about 200 words. Characters includes every space and punctuation as well. So for FRC, we have 5, and then for FTC, there is an additional optional one. As Jess said, we don't want you to just say what they did. Don't just say like, this student impacted students. How did they do that? Tell us the story so that we can paint the picture and feel the impact in the essay. And then we also talk a little bit here about how they want it to be FIRST focused, but if there's additional details that somehow it's impacted you outside of FIRST and it's in a leadership role or different things like that, you can add them as additional details. But keep the criteria of the award in mind when you are writing. And Jess will talk a little bit about this in a bit, but how was the student a leader? And what are the students' individual contributions to different parts of their team? So how can you hit on those specifically? If you answer them with those things in mind, then you'll have a more successful time writing those essays, those 5 essay prompts. And I'll pass it to the essay, and these are the essay prompts. So I won't go through these all here. We'll share with you where you can actually find them, but just really quickly talking about gracious professionalism, how they increase the awareness, technical expertise. As Jess and I mentioned, neither of us were technical on the technical side of our teams. Neither of us were robot focused. We were more so the outreach and the awards and so growing the FIRST programs, more in the mentorship leadership role. So with the technical expertise, if you have a student, my recommendation is trying to find ways that maybe they're trying to learn these different areas, or being a leader and showing other students how they can kind of learn different things in different areas. Sometimes there's a lot of people on one team, and it's really hard to get that many hands on the robot. So is there a way that that student is leading to share that information to more students, and get creative with how you're responding on like the design process or making, and how their technical skills might be just a little bit different than those that are really hands-on with the robot.
And if I may add a couple things in there, technical expertise. So many people think technical expertise means they're actually coding or they're like cutting metal with a hacksaw or whatever. Technical expertise in FIRST comes in a lot of different forms. Maybe someone has worked a lot with the scouting team, you know, and on strategy, and they never actually touched the robot. Project management is a technical skill. So managing the team, both of you were team leaders on your team, and I'm sure that was a part of the reason two of you were selected. But we also just talked to two FRC teams that were running summer camps for youth, where they use their technical expertise to teach students about STEM and about coding and stuff. So maybe it wasn't coding an FRC robot, but maybe it was teaching kids about pseudocode and Scratch. Technical expertise comes in a lot of different forms, and please, we should not be pigeonholing it to, it's only if you CAD'd the robot.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Karthik. That's great. It's important to recognize that that can be so diverse in how we answer that question. And we don't have to choose our students just based off of, do they fit what we think as that technical expertise. So the other ones here, we have what is their individual contribution to the team in different areas, and then of course their leadership. And just a reminder that FTC teams and mentors, you have an additional 500 characters for any additional information that you'd like to include about that student.
Yeah, in my submission, I know that we talked about, I mentor FLL teams. So that was my technical expertise, was programming with Scratch and the block coding that used to be Mindstorms back in my day, you know, so.
back in your day.
Back in my day. Now it's Spike Prime, so just as exciting. And specifically about your submission, we could have went into all the details, but there is a super in-depth guide with pictures and lots of arrows and lots of links within the Dean's List Award guide that is found on the internet. And obviously it's going to be posted in the chat, I believe.
It's there already.
There's a different one for FRC and FTC. So these two guides break down those questions that you have, how to submit it, where to submit it. And then also there's tips and tricks and terminology, and everything that we're basically saying here will also be found there. So if you want to take a little perusal in there, you can find lots of information there as well. And it's a super cool guide. So I would take a look, and there's a different one for each program. So make sure you are in the correct program.
Okay, so interview details. I also want to remind you with the nomination, if you're a student listening to this today, your mentor's not on, you can share with them and say, hey, can we nominate some Dean's List students, or suggest it to them, or remind them as well, because it might not be you that they're nominating, but maybe you recognize that there is a leader on your team that deserves to be nominated. So we can advocate for that as well as students. So
and
just with the interview. So go ahead.
I want to also add in there, because this award is only eligible for grade 10 and 11 students. So if you're a grade 12 student on the team, like we've been challenging the mentors to nominate people, but I challenge the grade 12 students who are team captains and such. Go to your mentors and say, hey, we need to nominate someone for Dean's List this year. We haven't done it before. Here's the criteria. And that way, because a grade 11 or 10 student might feel too shy or be like, that's weird to be like, hey, we should nominate someone. I'm over here, by the way, or whatever. But grade 12 students advocate on behalf of your younger students.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So for interview details, it's about a 6 to 10 minute long interview. And then this is all outlined in what Jess had just shared, but for FIRST Robotics Competition and FIRST Tech Challenge, the interview process works a little bit differently. So just make sure you check in on that. And mentors, you will be emailed from FIRST Canada based on your interview schedule for your students. And we'll go to the next slide.
So to prepare for your interview, as a student, your mentors are going to be writing your interview. So I would definitely take the time to read over your interview. I know it's kind of weird to read a whole essay about yourself, but you're going to read over it. You're going to make sure you're really confident with what's in it. And then you're also going to make sure you acknowledge what isn't in it and what you want to include in that 6 to 10 minute interview process. So say the judges are asking you questions and you know that you really want to talk about this one thing that you did that wasn't included in the essay, you're going to find a way to bring that up. And then additionally, you want to make sure that you're preparing for this interview. So something that I always did, was that I practiced a handshake. So I was walking into a room, my fake judges were sitting at the table, they got up, I shook their hand, I introduced myself. That really helps calm the nerves when you know that one little step, you already have that one down, so you can just move on right to getting into the questions and everything like that. So you really want to make sure that you're prepared, especially because you don't have a lot of interview experience, I'm sure. So just practicing introducing yourself and everything like that, and getting right into talking about yourself. Next slide.
So here's some interview tips. Remember that they're interviewing you. So like just said that you may not have a lot of interview experience. You probably do with judges about your team, but less so about yourself and how you specifically contributed to the things that your team is doing. There's some examples of interview questions in that document that Jess shared as well. And one of the biggest tips I have for you is the importance of storytelling. So make sure that you like I said, don't just say it, prove it. So the importance of that is that you're drawing the judges in with your story. You're painting that picture. You're taking them on the journey with you so they can see how you reacted in that situation, how you impacted somebody, not just that you impacted them, how strong that impact was, and they can understand how that other person felt, whether it's a team member, a mentor, someone in your community, at the summer camps, for example, or people at TSN actually know what FIRST is now, which is super cool. That would be a different way of taking them along on that journey with you. It allows them to get to know you. It allows you to show them the skills that you have. Those really paint that picture of how your leadership skills come out within your team. And people remember stories. If you've ever had a conversation with somebody and they told you a story about something that they did, you're more likely to remember that than you are that they went on a hike. Like if they painted this story, you're going to remember the tall trees and the big mountain and they tripped on a rock. Like they're going to remember those details. So just make sure that you're keeping that in mind when you're going into your interview. And of course, have fun. They're going to feel the passion that you have for your team, for what you do, for being a part of FIRST after you're done on your team as an alum. They're going to feel that passion in that room. They're going to feel the excitement that you have for being on that team and actually doing those different things in your community. Yeah, so those are my tips for interviews. And I think we just have some time for some questions now.
All right. Well, I'm going to toss it over to our grade 11 student, Corey. I wonder if you have any questions about the Dean's List award.
I don't really have any questions, but I do really appreciate the insight into that the Dean's List award is it's not necessarily about winning, it's more about appreciation, and it's like a catalyst for like growth as well. Yeah, I like the you guys, I want to thank you guys for like giving all the tips. It really means a lot. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would benefit from now knowing more about the Dean's List Award and might be considering applying or like getting letting their mentors know about it, and hopefully there will be more nominations this year. I think it's a really positive thing for the FIRST community.
Yeah, and if I may just add, you know, to all the mentors who are watching tonight, this is I know every mentor in this program truly is doing this because they love seeing the students learn. They love seeing the students be inspired and be impacted by this program. And this is the best way to show appreciation to individual students who have gone above and beyond. So I challenge each team out there, get some nominations in. They are not that long. It is not that hard to do. They've really revamped the process. So it's short answer, like Jaylene said, 800 characters for a question. That's anywhere between 120, 200 words. You can just churn that out really quickly. FIRST headquarters put out a blog recently specifically allowing for the use of things like ChatGPT to help you out with these sorts of things if you're struggling to come up with the words. So you kind of, you know, you can use that to, you kind of say, hey, ChatGPT, help me. The student's really amazing. They've done this, this, and this. And it can, you know, help. That's another tool you have. But also you might be thinking, oh, it's so busy during build season. I don't have time to do this. But guess what? The Dean's List submission portal is open right now. So people can put their submissions in now, maybe knock it out before kickoff, just knock it off the checklist, right? Just that's something teams could totally do.
Yeah, you could do it tonight. It's only 8 p.m. You could
There you go. Don't do it tonight. That is classic Jessica Kelso. Like, why tomorrow? Let's do it now. Let's just do it. Let's just go.
These essays have to get in. You run out of time. No, it's definitely a very easy submission, and I look forward to seeing even more students not recognized for their success this season.
You know what I'm looking forward to just this year, at events during opening ceremonies, we're going to say, all right, if you were nominated for the Dean's List Award, please stand up. I'm looking forward to at events, not just seeing like 5 or 6 people stand up. I want to see 30, 40 people stand up. I think it'd be really, really dope.
Watching?
Yeah, we got it. We got it. Eyes on you. All right, Jessica, Jaylene, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations again for your award, but not just for your award, for continuing to give back. And, that award in the criteria talks about a long-term commitment to FIRST. And I think you two are shining ideals of that. So thank you for all you've done as volunteers, you do as staff members. It's truly appreciated. All right, Corey, we are coming down to the end of the show. And guess what? This is the last show before kickoff. This is it. Happy holidays. Are you excited for the holiday season, Corey?
Oh, I am so excited. I can't it's like ski snowboarding season. I can't wait to get on
Oh,
the
nice,
slopes.
nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
How about you?
I am super pumped. I have finished almost all my Christmas shopping, so that is good. Tree is up, decorations are good. Right after the show, I'm going to pop open my 5th box on my advent calendar, get a little piece of chocolate in there, maybe do some more decorating. But I'm excited. I'm going to do a gingerbread house for the first time, so I'm excited to do that. I might do it after Christmas. I might do it in the break between Christmas and New Year's as my time off.
Whatever.
And but yeah, after this, I'm going to listen to every night after work. I put on a fireplace. I put on some carols. Just got to get into the season. So really good.
I can't wait either. It's feeling very jolly. And
Yep. And I'm just trying to be really good, so Santa treats me well, comes down the chimney. Just
maybe
cross my fingers.
Looking forward for some good presents under your Christmas tree.
You got to be good. I've been trying to be good. Sometimes, I do things I shouldn't, but I'm generally trying to be a good person. Santa, I hope you're watching. Hey, of course, Santa's watching First Canada Live. You've seen who's on his good list.
Yeah,
Corey, you're on the good list for sure. You're on the good list. He's like, Corey volunteered at the FLL event last weekend. Ho, ho, ho. You're on the good list. He wore his youth council cowboy hat. Ho, ho, ho. On the good list.
I sure hope so. Maybe we'll be looking. I'll find out on Christmas Day if I have something good under the tree. I'll know I've been a good boy. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right. And everyone else who's been on the show, thank you for coming on the show tonight. We will be back Tuesday after kickoff talking about Crescendo and everything that game could entail. I'm so excited to find out what we're going to get. Everyone, happy holidays and see you in a while. Subscribe, like, click the notifications, and we will see you in January. Bye, everyone. Thanks, producers.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.